Hey, look at that. A little intro action. What do you think about that? Hey, welcome everybody. It's Thursday. I almost said it's Wednesday. I have no idea what day it is anymore.
Me
My kids
neither.
have been off school all week because of the cold.
I
I don't know what month it is. I don't know what day it is. I know it's winter. I know because I walked outside and I could tell that it's
well,
very
yeah.
cold. It warmed up, but it's still very cold. Anyway, I'm your host, Chad Bryan. Welcome to the sports show with no name. As always, I've got Ben Bales with me. Ben, how are you doing, man?
Good.
Cool. I see I left the font blue. My kids and I recorded some stuff over the weekend. We tried to make it, blue for like winter. It was like tips on how to stay warm in the extreme cold. The whole thing went off the rails very quickly. My kids are wild. They see the microphone and they like to see the little button come on when it's recording or when we're live, and they just go wild. They just start screaming into the mic. Not a lot of usable audio, but whatever. We had fun.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And speaking of having fun, Monday night was pretty fun, wasn't it, man?
Yes, it was.
Very, very fun. Listen, guys, the Ohio State Buckeyes, whether you like it or not, they're your 2024-25 national champions. I know a lot of people have an opinion about this. A lot of people have something to say. A lot of people have certain feelings about this. I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't care less what your feelings are. If you are, let's just not even, we'll get into it later. Let's just start in with the game. Ohio State beats Notre Dame 34-23 in the college football playoff national championship game. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, to take home their 9th national title in school history.
I believe so.
Ryan Day also joined Paul Brown, Woody Hayes, Jim Tressel, and Urban Meyer as Ohio State head coaches to win a national championship at the school. Just before we get into that, did you think Ryan Day was ever going to get here? Did you think this moment was going to come, especially this year?
I thought it would come eventually, but I just didn't think it would come this year after, losing to an unranked Michigan, everybody wanting him, gone, everybody wanted him canned.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think it would come this year, but I don't know if it was last week's show that we talked about it or if I was just talking to you, Chad, through text, but I said I truly think that Michigan game was Ryan Day's like game plan. Like, hey, like we're tougher than you. We're gonna show that we're tougher than you, and we're gonna run the ball. And after that game, me and my dad are like, hey, like Chip Kelly might have said, look, you brought me here to run the offense. Let me run the offense and do my job.
Yeah.
And you saw what happened.
Yeah.
Like that.
There was some kind of a change there. There was an immediate, definite change from the Michigan game to, right away in that Tennessee game. Yeah. It felt different.
It did. I will say this. I don't know if you remember the 2017 national title game against Bama. Obviously, we got blown out, but there was a play in there.
20.
Yeah, 20. Yeah. The game.
You can't go that far. You were too young to go that far into the Wayback Machine, man. You got to be easy.
But that was the year we got smoked by Bama. They ran a little play where they motioned Devontae Smith in the backfield, and he came back out and they threw it to him.
Yeah.
They ran that same exact play with Jeremiah Smith, and you're telling me that with Chip Kelly being an offensive guru, that he didn't see a highlight of that play and he's like, hey, we're using that.
Well, and let me tell you, when that play happened, I remember that play with Devontae Smith, and I tell you, it looked a lot better with Pete Werner trying to catch him going downfield. That wasn't going to happen. Poor Pete Werner, man. He gets dumped on a lot, or at least he got dumped on a lot during that season, and especially during that game. But I mean, my goodness, man, you've got a middle linebacker trying to cover Devontae Smith. That's not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama was so
Heisman Trophy winner.
I didn't expect to even compete.
No,
I didn't expect the Buckeyes to even compete in that game. I remember that game. 52-24 or whatever. It was about what I expected.
Yeah.
And people, we're trying to make fun of Buckeyes fans. I'm like, listen, I think this is what about 85% of the fan base expected in this game. Like, Alabama was so stacked.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, it was not a big deal. Listen, it's okay to lose a game. Don't tell Michigan fans this, because I keep seeing Michigan fans and even some Ohio State fans, which is really irritating, trying to undercut the title. I mean, when you can when you're a grown man, okay, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, right? And you're trying to undercut the accomplishments of 18 to 23-year-olds because of a regular season game. I feel like I think that's pathetic, man. I think it's really petty, and it's really just. I don't think it's what the spirit of competition is really about. Who cares about a regular? Do you care about a regular season game right now? I don't care.
No, Like
I
I told
couldn't care less. And let me tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be really honest with you. I know everybody thinks, oh, but when you beat Michigan next year, you're going to jump up. No, I don't care. I don't care. As long as they finish 10-2, 11-1, whatever it takes to get into the playoffs again, I really couldn't care less what happened. I mean, of course, you want to beat your rival. Of course you do. But at the end of the day, will I take a loss to Michigan for 11 straight years if the Buckeyes win 7 national titles in that time? Of course.
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Of course.
Dude, somebody, one of my friends asked me that's a Michigan fan. He's like, hey, what? He's like, if you lost us every year, but you were guaranteed like 5 or 6 national titles in the next like 10 years, would you do it? I was like, yeah, in a heartbeat. He's like, you're stupid. I was like, I'd take 6 national titles any day of the week.
Yeah, your opinion is noted.
Like,
thank you for questioning my intelligence. But I mean, listen, everybody knows this. When you start playing sports, like when you first start playing, it's to learn the sport and have fun, right? Mm-hmm. And then like once you start getting some of the strategy down and you get some of the finer points down, then you want to win, right? You want to win every game, of course. I get it. Okay, you don't ever want to lose, but more importantly, you want to win championships, right? You want to be there at the end of the season as the last team standing.
Yep.
And I don't care. So listen, here's my official stance on this. Okay, if Michigan fans and whoever, even Ohio State fans, annoying. Whatever fans around the country, if you want to undercut Ohio State's national championship because they lost 2 games, then I am calling now that all baseball World Series championships they're all invalid. All World Series titles are invalid. Not a single one of these bum teams has ever gone 162-0. So I don't want to hear it. They're not champions. They're Mickey Mouse, paper ring, whatever you want to say, whatever your stupid opinion is about it. All the baseball champions, all the World Series titles don't count. And even the Braves titles, I don't care. Bring it on. Doesn't matter. My team's fine too. They've never gone 162-0, so all those titles are irrelevant, right?
All I'm going to say is
that what we're doing?
All I'm going to say, Michigan fans, is we didn't have to cheat to win a national title too.
I mean, yeah.
Just saying.
And the gall, okay, the gall to go online and type, oh, there's an asterisk by this championship because they lost a game in the regular season. My God. So you are telling me that losing one regular season game in November is worse than being embroiled in an entire 3+ year cheating scandal? That, by the way, the NCAA is still investigating. Everybody likes to think, all the Michigan fans tell me, oh, it's over. It's over. They've already ruled. No, they haven't ruled. You can go to the web. I don't have the tracking site, but you can go to the NCAA. You can go to the site that tracks all the infractions and where investigations are. And they're very much in the middle of this investigation. Michigan actually asked for I don't know what, maybe an extension on their date to respond, to the
I saw that
allegations, and they got the extension. I don't know why you would ask for an extension if you were just clear cut, all the evidence, exonerates you. I mean, why would you ask for an extension if you knew you were? I don't know, whatever.
And I saw
it's neither here nor there. The Buckeyes are national champions. That's all I care about. I don't care about a regular season game in October in Eugene. I don't care about a regular season game in November in Columbus. None of that matters because they're national champions. It doesn't matter. And also to try to say, well, it's so much easier to win now because it's 12 teams and they let anybody in. Well, I don't know that that's genius level thinking because now you have to win more games to get there. Like I'm confused on the coping mechanisms that Michigan fans are trying to use. I thought they were tougher than this. I thought the whole claim to fame is our fans are tougher, our team's tougher, our stadium's tougher, our clouds over top of the cities are tougher. I thought everything was tough about Ann Arbor, but I just all I see is pettiness and coping mechanisms online. I mean, just give them their due, man. I mean, even when Michigan won their championship, I mean, listen, I know they were in the middle of the cheating thing. Obviously, supposedly weren't cheating during the playoffs. You can't tell me that just because Connor Stallions was gone, they didn't have some kind of a system, where people knew still what was going on. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you watched the documentary. He was literally telling them what the signs meant, and he said he had multiple people on the staff that knew the signs.
Advanced scouting is still illegal. It's still it's not illegal. It's against the rules. It's against NCAA rules. Nobody's gonna get arrested. I think it's weird too. By the way, while we're talking about this, I think it's really weird when Buckeyes fans try to start talking about getting the FBI involved and people getting arrested and going to jail. Okay, calm down on that too. These are football games. All right, nobody's going to jail for this. Like some people may never work, within college football again. They may never work within that framework again. They may be relegated to high school jobs. I have no idea. if they'll ever get a job back at that level or Division III or whatever. Not that there's any problem with working at those levels. I just don't know that they'll ever be allowed to work back at the Division I, at the FBS level. But listen, nobody's going to jail. We don't want anyone to go to jail. Like, I just want the whole thing to be over. I wouldn't mind if Michigan and Ohio State traded off every year and won national titles. I wouldn't care. I think that'd be fantastic for the Big Ten. By the way, while we're on this, the Big Ten, back-to-back titles for the first time since 1940 to 42, when Ohio State was a part of that as well. But how about the Golden Gophers of Minnesota going back-to-back in 40 and 41? So yeah, the Big Ten has gone back-to-back with football national titles for the first time in a really long time.
I do want to say, though, I give all the props in the world to Ryan Day, because after that Michigan game, like I said, everybody wanted him gone. Everybody wanted him fired. And I think it was last week I told you this, Chad. It was either through text or it was when I hopped on, the show.
Yeah.
He literally told his wife.
By the way, thanks for stopping by last week for a couple minutes. We appreciate that.
He literally told his wife, he said, the only way out of this is, he's like, I got to fight it. He goes, I can't just show up to work. He goes, I got to fight for it.
Yeah.
And he showed up, he fought for it, and now he's cemented in the history books.
And people say these guys don't face any adversity because they get paid so much money, whatever. When your family has to be pulled out of school, your kids have to be pulled out of school because of threats. That qualifies as adversity. There's not enough money in the world to make you cool with, hey, my kids got threatened at school today. They threatened my family, but I made $9 million, so who cares, right? Like, no one feels that way. You feel that stress. You definitely wear that. You can see it. I don't know. It's just, I
think you saw that emotion too between Sawyer and Ryan Day.
Yeah.
I mean,
what a great moment. They had a bunch of great moments in the playoffs, but the one moment that I really loved was after the Texas game. That embrace on the sidelines. It was just, that was pure joy. And I mean, that, Jack Sawyer, we haven't talked about it, but it's been talked about ad nauseum. I mean, he was Ryan Day's first recruit that he signed, when he took over as the head coach at Ohio State. And
funny story about that. Did you hear how
they paid great dividends, didn't it?
They did. Did you hear how he committed to Ohio State? Have you heard that story?
Yes, I did hear that.
The story's great.
I did. Basically behind his parents' back.
Yeah,
they were like, think about it. He was like, okay.
When I heard how they contacted Quinshon Judkins or Traven Henderson about signing Quinshon Judkins, you kind of knew this team was going to be special. Because when you call your star running back, who's been a 3-year starter since a freshman, and says, "Hey, I'll do whatever it takes to win."
Yeah,
you go out and you get a guy like Quinshon Judkins.
Well, I feel like a guy like Henderson was seeing stars because I feel like he's like, hey, man, I have a chance to be fresh now. Yeah. At the end of the year. I mean, Travion Henderson was so not overused. He just, he was worn down. The life of running back is difficult, man. You get beat on, a lot.
And I think
you're
it showed
guys
too.
that are bigger than you. You're getting hit by guys that are bigger than you. It's a tough life. Yeah. And, a lot of times we get to the end of the season, Henderson wasn't 100%. He wasn't even 80%. He was very, very beat up. So it was good to see the two of them fresh. That was the idea when they brought Judkins in. It was the idea.
Definitely.
Judkins fresh at the end of the year, and they had that.
And Chad, I texted you this, but I couldn't find it to be 100% sure. But Ohio State's one of the only teams to ever have 2 1,000-yard rushers and 2 1,000-yard receivers on the same team.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Really impressive.
Urban Meyer said it. Is it time we talk about this Ohio State team as one of the best teams ever?
Well, I don't think you can lose 2 games and be considered one of the best teams ever. You can still be considered national champions, but I don't know that they have that claim. I mean, that 2019 LSU team they were something different.
I mean, okay, but I'll throw this at you, though. That Miami Hurricanes team is considered one of the best ever, and they lost the game. Okay,
that's fair, but they didn't lose until they got the national title game. But I will give you that. I don't know. That's a good point. Ben, you're right. That's a good point.
And I'm going to say, Ohio State has the most top 5 wins in a single season against a team that went on to a national title.
Yeah.
They beat every single record LSU had in the college football playoffs.
Yeah. Well, okay. But some of those are longevity records, right? Like LSU played 2 games, Ohio State played 4. So you have to adjust for that. Because people were saying, Will Howard threw for more yards than Joe Burrow. Okay, easy. He had 2 more games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm
Joe Burrow also threw for like 460 plus yards in one of those games. So that's
why. I mean, that record, that's crazy. But no,
that's probably not going to go down for a while.
I mean, like I said, it was Urban Meyer that mentioned it. He's like, I get they have 2 losses, right? He's like, but you look at like the Oregon loss. You lost on the road by 1 point.
Yeah. To a questionable circumstance at the end of the game. I mean, that added to it,
Also to a really, really good Michigan or to a really, really good Oregon team.
Mhm.
He's like, now obviously you have the loss at home. He's like, now if you would have lost back to back, lost to Michigan and then lost to Tennessee, he's like, yeah, he's like, we never mentioned this team ever again. He's like, this team's
No,
just in the back of the
it's a
head.
failure. I mean, the season
Yeah,
is
he's like,
considered a failure, and Ryan Day might not be there anymore.
yeah, he's like, but winning every game by double digits and completely smoking everybody. He's like, and getting the rematch against Oregon and beating them really, really badly. He's like, you kind of got to think well, he's like, maybe not. Well, at the end of his press conference, or at the end of the interview, he said, maybe not one of the best teams ever, maybe one of the best Ohio State teams ever was kind of how he.
That's fair.
I think it's what he meant to say.
Fair. That's fair.
I agree. Yeah.
I think anytime you win a national championship, you're automatically put into the conversation of, one of the best school, teams in school history, right? But then, you start looking at the qualifying factors, and this team has a lot of them.
They do.
But I did want to talk a little bit about the game because Notre Dame opened up on that 18-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. And I don't know. I think after that, well, first of all, the Buckeyes defense really settled in. And I think if you've ever watched the Buckeyes, especially under Jim Knowles, that first drive is usually their shakiest, right?
Yeah, it's like that feel.
And then they kind of put brackets around what's going on and figure it out and make some changes. And I think maybe is there anybody better in college football at making changes on the fly than Jim Knowles defensively?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's easier. I also think it's easier now with the in-helmet communications because players aren't having to look over and get signs.
Yeah.
And so he can just call them on the fly.
Yeah.
And
so
I think
maybe
that
obviously does make a difference. Yeah.
It does. And but it
there's
also
better communication. Yeah.
It does. It also helps though having, a superstar caliber players like Caleb Downs and Jack Sawyer and JTT.
Did you notice about the last 5 or 6 games of the year, they just sort of let Caleb Downs just kind of make his own way?
Yeah. Well, that's what
he didn't really have a position. He just sort of played center field and reacted.
That's kind of what Jim Knowles talked about. He's like, after that Michigan game, he's like, we were so focused on him playing safety because that was his position.
Yeah.
And he's like, after that, he's like, when we realized that it wasn't working, he's like, we kind of just let him do whatever he wanted and just go attack the ball.
It was almost like it changed him from being one player to a player and a half out there. Yeah. Like it was really wild.
Like the tackle for loss against Texas that led to the Jack Sawyer strip sack.
Yeah.
I mean, and one thing I do want to say though is people criticized Will Howard.
My graphics aren't working, Ben. I don't know what's going on. They're just not staying up. I don't understand what's happening, but it's been a technical difficulty kind of. Welcome to the Sports Show with No Name. We're 17 minutes in. And my graphics have just now started working. So welcome to whatever this is. I don't know.
People criticized Will Howard, and I do want to say he played probably the best football I've ever seen him play in the college football playoffs.
I hope that stay up. He really did.
And
he started. I mean, especially the title game, he started out on fire.
Yeah,
he completed his first 13 passes. First half, he was 14 of 15 for 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Finished the game 17 of 21. Obviously, there wasn't much of a need to throw the ball in the second half. Just wanted to run the clock. Quinshawn Judkins, I thought maybe could have been the offensive MVP.
I thought he should have been. I thought he should have been.
Yeah.
But again,
Judkins does a lot of stuff behind the radar, just under the radar that's not noticed. Like his blocking. I mean, he's a football player, man.
He is. I saw a clip. I saw a clip on that throw to Jeremiah Smith. Travion Henderson was actually supposed to have a wheel route out of the backfield. And he saw a guy blitzing up the one gap, and instead of running his wheel route, he picked up the blitz and gave Will Howard enough time to throw it down the sideline.
Yep.
And I saw a guy say that there's not many guys, especially running backs, that can realize a blitz like that and pick it up that quickly.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good football player. Judkins carried the ball 11 times for 100 yards. It's pretty efficient. Scored 2 touchdowns on the ground, caught a touchdown pass from Will Howard.
Dude, I mean, that touchdown throw to Judkins was a great play by Will Howard. Rolls out, keeps his eyes down the field, and then just turns his hips and
kind of suck the defense in with his legs and just threw the ball right back over top. That was great.
I will say this, so props to Notre Dame though, because they didn't give up. Most teams
are down 31-7 in this game, and it would have been very easy to give up.
Yeah,
I mean, it would have been very easy to roll over and say, "Hey, listen, nobody's beating this Buckeye team. Let's just go out. Let's just, it's over. Let's get to it." But no, they fought back. They made it a 1-score game with 4 minutes to go.
They did. And I told this. I texted you this all, through text message. I told you, I said, if Ryan Day gets fired, I wanted Ohio State to go after Marcus Freeman.
Yeah.
I think he would be a perfect Ohio State head coach. Toughness, just knows how to play football the right way. Like they said, Notre Dame does all the little things right. under
How about
Marcus
learning
Freeman.
on the job at Notre Dame, by the way?
Yeah.
Like most guys learn on the fly at no offense to these programs, but like a program like Western Michigan or
Yeah.
Akron or Kent State or something that's, Kennesaw State, a little bit lower, a little bit under the radar. No, Freeman first head coaching job is at Notre Dame. I mean, okay. And I mean, he's performed well under that fire. I mean, he's done great.
He has.
I was proud of him. I mean, I don't dislike Notre Dame.
Me
I know Notre Dame is one of those polarizing programs. I don't really, there's no college football program. I don't hate a team. I don't even feel about that way about Michigan. They just are what they are. I mean, I don't hate a person for deciding to go to a school and play football. It's weird, man.
That's the way I am with that's the way I when I was younger, right? I used to hate the Patriots, because I was a Steelers fan. They'd always beat my Steelers in the AFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to hate, the Celtics because they'd always beat the Cavs. I used to hate all these teams, and as I got older, all these teams that were really, really good for a really, really long period of time, you're like, okay, it's no longer hatred. It's just like, I don't like you, but I respect you for how good you are. Yeah. Like I hated Tom Brady because he always beat the Steelers. But now that he retired, I'm like, okay, that guy was really, really good at what he did, and I respect the hell out of him.
Yeah.
It's
annoying as all get out to lose to someone over and over and over again, right? Especially your rival. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you can't you have to look at it through the eyes of and it's okay to sports hate a team. I hate Michigan for one Saturday every November, whatever, it's fine. But I mean, again, nothing personal. I don't wish ill will on any of the players. There are multiple Michigan players that there are Michigan guys in the NFL that I root for still because, they caught my eye in one way or another. Ronnie Bell is one of those guys. He caught my eye in college. Just the perseverance, man, and coming back from multiple injuries and finally having a really good senior season. I was really happy for Ronnie Bell. You know what I mean? There are Michigan guys and now it just seems like, I mean, and Ben, it's even people. It used to be just random faces on social media, but now it's people that I know that I've met personally that are acting like mouth breathers over this. I don't understand how you can't just give a team a props for winning a national championship and move on with your day. Is it so important for you to be relevant that you have to wake up every morning and put something stupid on Facebook to try to undercut what a bunch of kids accomplished? I mean, it's embarrassing. It's pathetic.
I agree.
It's whatever.
And
if you're one of the people doing this, you're embarrassing. Sorry. I'm not going to mince words about this because I feel very strongly it's an embarrassing look. You look petty. It's embarrassing. As if anybody with any intelligence cares what Michigan fans think about Ohio State's national title, right? Who cares? I mean, some Ohio State fans even jumped on this bandwagon. We talked about claiming that, the Buckeyes still need to fire Ryan Day because apparently winning a random regular season game is now more important than winning championships. I'll never understand the mindset. I'll never get it. Despite all of it, the Buckeyes are national champions. I don't care if you like it or you don't. And according to the final AP poll, listen to this, Ben, this season alone, not just in the playoffs, don't want to make that mistake. This season alone, the Buckeyes beat number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 9, and number 10. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd.
Yep.
And I know people get hung up on, well, when you played them, they were number 1, but they ended up. This is where all these teams ended up. The Buckeyes beat number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 9, number 10. The only reason they didn't beat number 1 is because they finished number 1. The only reason they didn't beat number 6, that's Georgia. They didn't get a shot at Georgia. They beat all the top teams, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep. What else do you want them to do? I mean, what else do you want? How do you tell me that doesn't count because of a regular season game? I think that something's happened to our society where we don't think anymore, right? What's the most hateful thing I can say about the thing I don't like? Say it. Doesn't have to make sense, right? It's kind of and it's there.
It's kind of like after the Michigan game, I was scrolling through Twitter. It wasn't after the Michigan game, but it was probably a couple days, maybe a week after.
Yeah.
Scrolling through Twitter and I see this post that says, it says, reporting. It says reported Chip Kelly reportedly looking for head coaching jobs after loss to Michigan. I click on the account. It's a Michigan fan. I'm like,
of course.
Doesn't say the source. Doesn't say where he got the information from.
No, it's just something completely made up. And now that becomes gospel because it's posted online, and somehow that's.
And here's the thing: I don't think Chip Kelly would leave UCLA, to go to Ohio State for 1 year to just return to head coaching when he left head
and then
coaching.
suddenly get the bug and be like, oh, I want to deal with, coast to coast recruiting and
Yeah.
NIL again. I doubt it. I think Chip Kelly's done being a head coach. I think he just wants to be an architect of the offense. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Listen, and Jim Knowles, by the way,
That dude is
what a key hire for the Buckeyes. Every year, I keep hearing people, Jim Knowles has to go because they gave up a touchdown in the third quarter of the 7th game. My God, the defense was so good this year.
Did you see their goal to go stats this year?
What's that?
Did you see their goal to go stats this year?
I'm sorry, what?
They had 25 times the other team had the ball first and goal.
Yeah.
9 times they came away with 0 points.
It's ridiculous. Someone posted a funny picture. It was like a bunch of different goal line stands where it was like first and goal inside the 5, right?
Yeah.
There was one on like the 9, whatever. But for the most part, like they were all inside the 5. And they were like, these 5 pictures resulted in 7 points for Ohio State. It's ridiculous, man. I mean,
I also think part of that too is, like you said, kind of having Caleb Downs that can play that like that Troy Polamalu role.
Yeah.
Hey, we need you to shoot this gap and go tackle the running back in the backfield, which he did against Texas.
Yeah. He just reacted seamlessly. I mean, in the entire playoffs, he just seemed to be, and he's not always in on every play, but it's like he was able to react to you see a quarterback drop back. Okay, Downs gets back and he takes the whole route away, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't see him on that play because he doesn't knock the pass down, doesn't intercept it, but they're also not throwing at him because he's got it handled, right?
Yep.
Snap the ball. It's a running play. Boom, Downs shoots through the line, makes the play, or slows him up and lets somebody else make a play.
Yeah.
He was so instrumental. I mean, I know he gets his due, but I still feel like what he did was very, very underrated.
Oh, for sure. Before you get out of here, I want to ask you this.
Sure.
Is there a player going into next year more impactful than Jeremiah Smith in college football?
Maybe Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, they're both Ohio State guys. They're both on each side of the ball. Yeah.
I was going to say, the fact you have the 2 most impactful players in college football and one's on offense, one's on defense. Like you look at that Texas game. He was getting triple teamed the entire game.
Yep.
Because they were so scared he was going to wreck the game.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame
State was like, "Hey, I'll eat. That's fine."
And Notre Dame predominantly plays man coverage, man to man.
Yeah.
They played more zone coverage than they did man coverage in the national championship game after saying, "Oh, we're not going to change what we did all year."
But they had to.
Yeah, and then you saw Jeremiah Smith, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, we should probably change."
If they would have manned him up every single play, he would have had 15 catches for 250 yards.
It was like the stats I sent you.
Yeah, it would have been ridiculous. But I want to talk about this real quick. We talked about you talked about identifying Marcus Freeman as a possible target, to coach at Ohio State if things had gone sideways or whatever. There is one report that I saw, and I haven't looked into it too much, but I saw a couple of different media members stating that maybe there were some problems in the Notre Dame locker room after that game. Did you see any of this at all?
I did not, but I could understand.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Are you aware of what I'm talking about?
I'm aware of what you're talking about, and I was going to say is that I feel like there could have been because the defensive coordinator left. He just left for the NFL, and he just got hired as their defensive coordinator.
Okay, yeah.
So I feel like there could be some issues there between, like maybe it's coaches, maybe it's players and coaches.
Yeah, you're talking about Al Golden going to the Bengals. Well, supposedly the media was instructed, directed, forced. I don't know, coerced. I don't know what you want to say. I don't know what word you want to use. But they were steered away from asking certain questions, and no one has said by whom. No one has actually said, "Hey, Marcus Freeman yelled at me and said, don't ask this question of my players." But it just someone in a leadership role with Notre Dame, whether it's the sports information director, athletic director, who knows? I have no idea. I don't want to put anybody's name on anything because I haven't seen anyone, be physically accused of being the one person who's done this. But a lot of media members said that they were yelled at, they were sworn at, they were warned not to ask certain questions.
Yeah.
If certain questions started heading a certain way, they were immediately shut down and ushered away from the player or the coach that they were talking to. Listen, I think that's a problem. I think win or lose, right?
It's part of your job.
Yeah, it's exactly your job. It's exactly your job. Win or lose, you have that obligation to speak with the media.
That's why NFL players get fined for not talking to media.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Yeah, listen.
My favorite line ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. But I think it was a bad look. I think that's a bad look coming out of Notre Dame. A program like Notre Dame, you don't expect to have those problems, right? Like
you look
these are the smart kids. I mean, these are the right. Like it's
Yeah.
harder to get into Notre Dame because you have to have better grades, and I think with that comes more emotional intelligence, right? I think you just got to face it, right? You lost a game. It's not the end of the world. It's a football game. Okay. You lost to a team that was probably the most talented team in the nation, I think. B, they were on one, man. They were just on one.
They were on a heater.
Sometimes you can't poke the bear, right? Or else you get what you get. And, I don't know, man. I mean, Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame, they didn't directly poke the bear, but they were the result of the bear being poked. And by the way, speaking of poking the bear, how about Jeremiah Love? Did Jeremiah Love wanted? He said we won Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
He called him out. He said we want to play Ohio State. We should have won the game last year. It was a fluke. We're going to prove this and that, whatever. Well, Jeremiah Love. Have you ever seen Tombstone, Ben? You ever watched that movie?
I don't think so.
Old Western. It's a good one. It's about Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and
I've
whatever.
heard of it. I've definitely heard of it.
Okay. Yeah. There's a scene at the train station where there's a group of guys called the Cowboys. They basically make trouble in Tombstone, right? And Wyatt Earp and his brothers are like the only real relevant law enforcement in the town. So they start kind of, trying to pick on the Earp brothers. And Wyatt Earp at one point, he's had enough, man. His brothers get shot. Obviously, he's not happy, right? So he tracks down Ike Clanton, one of the Cowboys, at the train station. And, it basically, gives him a warning and says, you called down the thunder. Well, now you got it, right? Like talking about like the Cowboys called out the Earps and Jeremiah Love called out the Buckeyes. And let's see how it went for him. He finished with 3 yards on 4 carries and caught 2 passes for 5 yards. So he almost got to double digits in the game. Listen, I'd be careful about who you call out. I'm not a big fan of the pregame call out. I think it's stupid. I think all the promises, we will win this game. We want this team. We want that, whatever.
It's like, do you remember the Vanderbilt clip of the guy that says, we want Bama?
Yeah.
They lost 52-0.
Yeah. I mean, eventually they got their revenge, right? They finally beat Bama this year.
No,
but yeah, that's
before you get
not a good. That's an exercise in futility. I think calling a team out is just, I don't know. No,
before you get out of here, does Ohio State?
I'm getting out of here. You kicking me out of my own show? What's going on here?
Kind of 2 questions. One, do you think
yes and no are my answers?
Do you think Ohio State has the talent to win it all? Well, obviously they have the talent to win it all next year, but do you think they have enough returning talent to win it all? And do you think
as always, it depends. It hinges on quarterback play, right? So if Julian Sayin is the guy, he's going to have to be great. He's going to have to be well. And Will Howard was great. I know people say, well, Howard did nothing but manage the game all year, but he also set a record for completion percentage at Ohio State. So I don't know.
I just think
pretty good.
I just think offensive side of the ball, not much has changed. Because I mean, like you still have Jeremiah Smith. I mean, obviously the offensive line's always changing because Ohio State's always losing offensive linemen to the NFL because you got dogs up there. They're all they don't recruit a guy that's not NFL caliber.
Yeah.
The defense,
but suddenly I think you feel better about the offensive line, right? Like
for sure,
there are always questions, but suddenly, I mean, the way they put it together from I don't know about the Penn State game on this year.
Yeah.
I think you have less concern now.
It was kind of ever since they moved Donovan Jackson to left tackle.
Yeah. Jackson thrived out there, didn't he?
He did. And I think
they said he was nervous about that move. I mean, rightfully so. He had never played left tackle at this level.
But the shocking one to me was bringing in the sophomore Luke Montgomery after the Tennessee game.
Yeah, kid from Findlay, Ohio, man. Kid from Findlay. Close to my hometown. His
first snaps were against Oregon.
Yeah.
He said he said the first quarter, he said he was nervous, and that's why he gave up that sack. He goes, but he said, like it truly does. He said, Will Howard walked up to him and said, forget about it. He goes, I know you're not going to let it happen again. And he didn't give up a sack the rest of the rest of college football playoffs. Howard's
a great leader, man. He's a good dude. I think. And by the way, maybe the funniest part of the whole national championship, maybe the whole night. Did you see the golf cart that got run into the wall and just completely took out? Like, it's really funny, man. Will Howard's laugh got me on watching that video over and over again. It was really funny.
Dude.
I don't know. I thought that was
like,
funny.
Or like when the camera, was like on Will Howard's head and he's looking over the sideline and he gives a little wink.
Yeah.
That was
great.
Kind of like, okay,
great.
like I know what's coming. Here you go.
Yeah, they were feeling it, man. Well, listen, one thing about next season, I know that I don't know if they're going to win a national title. I don't know if they're going to go back to back. I don't know if they'll get to the playoffs. I don't know if they'll win the Big Ten, if they'll finally beat Michigan. I do know that they'll play the Longhorns though in week 1.
I'm excited for that.
So Texas is coming to Columbus. That'll be fun. That's an Arch Manning, Julian Sayin matchup, most likely.
Yeah, because
so that's the first test for the defending national champions. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It does.
Defending national champion Buckeyes. I like that. And real quick, since you tried to kick me out, I guess I'll leave. I'll get out of here now. But I want to talk. Obviously, great. The Buckeyes won the national title. We're super happy. I'm Buckeyed out. You can see I got my sweatshirt. I got my Buckeye leaf hat on. I couldn't be happier. But I do. There are other things. Not
another kind of hat.
What's that?
Sure, it's not another kind of leaf.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a Buckeye leaf. We'll find out, I guess. I do get funny looks sometimes when I wear it, but I'm like, do you really not know Ohio State? Well, the lady they called Dustin Fox, I guess. So the conference championship games in the NFL are this weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too much into
Steelers are in it, right? Oh, wait.
What's that?
I said Steelers are in it, right? Oh, wait.
Yeah, Steelers Browns in the AFC. No, in the AFC, it's a familiar battle. You know the teams. The Bills, they're going to travel to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Hold on. Now, let me set this up for you. Those of you that are into the referee conspiracy fun that goes along with the Chiefs, listen to this. There is this little tidbit. Okay, there's something here. The head referee for this one, you may know him, you may not. His name's Clete Blakeman. Let me tell you why that's a big deal, okay? The last time that you can find a call in the NFL playoffs that has even remotely gone against the Kansas City Chiefs, it was the 2018-2019 AFC Championship game. They played the Patriots, and it was remember the phantom roughing the passer call against Chris Jones?
Yep.
Huge play in that game. It kind of changed the whole course of the game. The Chiefs would go on to lose to the Patriots in overtime in that game. Guess who made that call, Ben?
Him.
Clete Blakeman. Clete Blakeman. Chiefs hater number 1. No, I don't know if he's a Chiefs hater, but he's the guy that made the phantom roughing the passer call. So I don't know if that's like the official passing of like the torch going from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes now.
Oh, it definitely is.
Maybe we'll see Clete Blakeman have Patrick Mahomes' back all day. But what about Josh Allen? Like, he's a guy too, right? I mean, come on,
dude. I knew the NFL was rigged when.
Oh, you knew it was okay.
No, listen. I know it's rigged. When John Gruden, when Chris Jones got drafted,
the Steelers didn't win. Is that what?
Well, no, but
right.
when the Chiefs drafted Chris Jones. And John Gruden gave him a hug and said, "I love you. Go be great in Kansas City." Didn't say that to anybody else.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Shaky evidence at best, but Ben, I'm gonna let you have it.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if it's Clete Blakeman evidence, but it's something. It's something.
And that roughing the passer call against the Texans.
Yeah.
Saying when there's quarterbacks on Twitter that played in the NFL that are saying it shouldn't be roughing the passer.
Listen, you know the rules. You can't directly make eye contact with Patrick Mahomes when he's going to throw a pass. You know the rules. Come on, Ben. So who do you have in these games? Let's start in. We talked about the AFC Championship. Let's just start with the NFC Championship game. Eagles Commanders. This is not the matchup I expected. I cannot believe.
Who do you have? Who do you have winning?
I think the Eagles win this game. I think the Commanders' luck finally runs out.
That's where I disagree with you.
Yeah, you think Jaden Daniels gets it done?
I think this Washington Commanders team reminds me of that 10-7 Bengals team that made it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think
remember that weather is going to be a factor possibly, and they've got Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia now. Okay,
but they got Jaden Daniels.
Okay, but if they don't get the ball, if they don't have the ball, if the Eagles hold on to the ball and just run the ball, right, and run that offense off the field. I thought that was the mistake the Lions made. They I don't know. They gave the Commanders plenty of chances to have the ball.
Yeah, but I just think that I think Jaden Daniels is. I think he's going to be elite for years to come.
And by the way, with the Lions, do you think injuries just finally caught up with them?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course, right. I feel so sad.
If the Lions are healthy,
I wanted to see a Lions-Bills matchup, man. You have no idea how bad I wanted to see Detroit and Buffalo in the Super Bowl, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think Washington's playing too good right now.
Okay.
Like, you just beat the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And now you got to get – it's hard to beat same team 3 times in a year.
Yeah, Philadelphia's won a couple games here, but remember they won like 9 or 10 games in a row during the season. They kind of hit a speed bump after that. They didn't play well for a couple of weeks after that. So you never know which Philly team you're going to get. But I feel like there's a lot of veterans, a lot of guys who've won championships and won big games at every level. I think Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley get this one done. I think things you're going to see in this game are, well, you're always going to see Nick Sirianni getting into it with an opposing fan, or sometimes even their own fans.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's a weird guy. But yeah, I think the Eagles win this one. I think they win 27-23. Well, and then the AFC Championship. We talked about it. It's hard to pick against the Chiefs and everything they come with, right?
I want the Bills,
Travis Kelce, the referees, Taylor Swift, the whole thing, right?
I want the Bills, but the Chiefs are gonna get, Chiefs can get like 18 penalties that are just gonna be somehow go against the Bills that don't even happen.
I mean, look, man, Taylor Swift is going to be there. It's hard to pick against the boss, man. Like, she's the queen, right?
I don't think the
NFL lets her lose. Does she own the team? Do we know?
She might.
Has she bought the team yet?
She might. Do you know the last time the Chiefs had more than 10 penalties in a game?
Was it before Taylor Swift?
Well, it was way before that, but
okay.
It was.
Was it Clete Blakeman?
I don't think so. No, but it was the season they lost to the Steelers with Chris Boswell kicking 6 field goals.
Oh, okay.
That was the last time they had 10. That was the last time they had 10 penalties in a game.
So they've just been playing really clean football for years, then, right? Whatever.
It's kind of a coincidence that after that year, Patrick Mahomes got the starting job.
Interesting.
Just saying.
Interesting.
Telling you, the NFL's rigged. I will prove it one day. I will prove it.
Okay, you work on that. For now, give me a score for the AFC Championship game. Who you got?
I'm gonna say Bills 20 or Bill. I'm gonna say Chiefs 24-21 in overtime.
Okay, all right. I got Chiefs 31, Bills 27. I think they're gonna score some points. I don't know what the weather's going. What's the weather looking like? Is it going to be like 84 below, like it always is?
It's going to be cloudy with a chance of a lot of yellow flags.
A lot of yellow
flags.
In the Bills' favor.
Or I mean, in the Chiefs' favor.
Fair.
A lot of yellow flags in the Chiefs' favor.
That's fair. Well, hey, listen, that's it for us today, or for this week, or whatever. We'll see you next week. Next week, we're going to start to break down the Super Bowl a little bit. We'll know the matchup, right? We've got a couple weeks to kind of get into it. We've got a couple weeks to get into the teams, the matchups, the prop bets, all the fun stuff, the halftime show, all the fun stuff that goes along with the Super Bowl. We'll do it up, man. We'll talk about that for a couple of weeks. And listen, man, if you're a baseball fan like Ben and I are, it's getting close. It's close to our time of the year, man.
I can sniff it. I can smell it.
Yes, I can smell it too, and it could be my dog. But pitchers and catchers report across the league in just about 3 weeks now, right? Like right around Valentine's Day. So I love that. Heart. Anyway. Yeah, so all will be right with the world again, and it'll be baseball season again. But for now,
I do want to say one last thing before we leave.
Well, wait, Ben. We kind of enter that purgatory where there's just that it's winter sports, right? There's nothing really. There's only 3 meaningful football games left. Yeah. That's it, right? I don't know if you watch the CFL or XFL or the whatever there's left. I don't even know if the XFL is even a thing. I can't remember USFL. What's even out there anymore? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Don't care. I do care, but I don't care. There's just a really long way to go until we get to anything that resembles any kind of a tournament or like playoffs in basketball, right? Playoffs. Maybe I'll pick a 1 seed to go to the Final Four, and they'll get ousted by a 16 again this year. But probably it's just going to be a lot of me. It's just going to be me watching the national championship game over and over again on my DVR because, well, I have YouTube TV, unlimited DVR, and I can. So I can just watch it over and over again. And listen, Michigan fan, there's nothing you can say to undercut it that I, A, haven't heard, B, that I care about. Because when you lose 5 games in the regular season, guess what? You don't get to be relevant anymore. Nope. Sorry. I'm sorry. Bye, Michigan. We'll see you next year. We'll see you in Ann Arbor. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. We'll break down the Super Bowl. OHIO. Please just remember to share our show with your family and friends and to like our videos. Please comment on our videos. Please just, even if you just comment, you stink. Listen, we know when it's not, you're not going to offend us. Just tell us something. Just, help us grow. Really. Yeah. That's all we got. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about
before you go.
We'll know the matchup.
One last thing before you go.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to the Brother Blue Devils getting a big win. Basketball.
Yes.
It's the reigning Texas state champions.
Nice.
Go Blue.
Nice.
Big game this weekend.
Maybe in these winter doldrum months, we'll get Jim Covey back on here. We'll see what Coach Carter's doing. Maybe he can hop on once or twice.
Maybe.
I've got some guests that I'm trying to line up for you guys as well. Something you can look at.
LeBron James.
Ours.
LeBron James.
LeBron James has not said no yet.
Hey, we're moving up. So, just saying.
To be fair, I have not asked him. I don't expect a yes. I haven't asked. But listen, who knows? We may be able to trick him onto the show one day. That's
him
all we
he's
got
going on
for
the
you
New
guys.
Heights
Like I said, we'll
podcast
see you
again.
next week. OH.
IO.
See you guys next week.